Borrowing books made easy. We deliver books to your doorstep. Sign up now at mybookshelf.com.pk.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Tea with My Bookshelf. Today I'm going to be chatting with Sundar Waqar, who is the founder of Gluten Free Foods Pk, which offers delicious gluten-free food right here in Karachi. Sundar is the reason that I can still eat my favorite paratha anda breakfast. So let's have some tea. So Sundar, the main problem I had when I went gluten-free, aside from dearly missing my parathas and buttered toast, was not just finding gluten-free items here, but finding those that tasted good. And with your food, I find it so flavorful that it doesn't taste gluten-free. Like I never feel like your food is missing something. So I'm curious, how many times on average do you try different variations of the same recipe before you're happy with it?
But thank you so much. That's so kind of you. And so the objective of starting gluten-free foods was to make sure that people get food which tastes like normal food, because I can't have it either. And I'd miss it too. And sometimes I'd be like, oh, this bread is very hard, I can't chew through it because it was really hard. So sometimes it takes a lot of tries to get the recipe right, but sometimes you get it right the first time.
Okay.
So it's a process, and I feel like there's always room for improvement. So we're always trying to fix the recipes further. But yes, it really depends on also the items. Some are way easier, but others you just can't seem to get them right.
What is a really difficult one?
So bread is one of the hardest ones too, because obviously everyone has been having bread since they were children. So, you have this thing that, oh, this is what bread's supposed to taste like. And the other things which you're more accepting towards because you haven't had them in so many years. So it really depends. But yeah, I think bread is the hardest.
Yeah, I think it was definitely my childhood staple, like a toasted toast with butter slathered on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like my favorite food.
Yeah, and you have it with every meal, like bread or roti. So yeah, but like roti is much easier than bread, but yeah.
It's still tricky.
Yes.
I found that, I'm always giving you some sort of feedback and you're so kind and receptive to the customer's feedback. Does that help ever in tweaking your recipes?
A lot, actually, because, everyone's feedback matters and it helps you because, sometimes someone says something which I can't pick on and it always helps and, you're just like, oh yeah, this person is right. And, so we try to alter it accordingly. So it helps a lot.
So now cross-contamination, you and I know about it because we're sensitive to it. Can you first tell us what that is and then tell us a bit about it?
So basically, a lot of people don't realize that cross-contamination is as harmful as having gluten. So cross-contamination is if you're using the same utensils or preparing gluten-free food in the same facility as normal food. Because like your flour or like the particles, they fly, or you're using the same place, like the same cutting board to keep all the items. So that is a very big challenge while making gluten-free food, because you need to ensure that there's no gluten at all in the space where you're cooking or baking or eating even. And that,
so does even a little amount of mixing can be counted as cross-contamination?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even placing the items together in a plate can lead to cross-contamination, because when you pick up the slice of bread, you'll see that there'll be like some crumbs left over. So your plate is contaminated.
Okay.
And I feel that is something that's difficult, especially in Pakistan, because we do not have that kind of awareness as yet, or like facilities which are serving only gluten-free food.
And also because people, I guess, have varying degrees of sensitivity also.
Exactly, yes. And some people don't react at all to cross-contamination, or they don't realize that they are reacting to it, and some react severely.
So now during the pandemic, there were lockdowns and, indoor dining was closed, and we saw that a lot of sort of artisanal home chef businesses had sprung up. Did the pandemic help with your business growth?
Interestingly, I actually started doing this properly when the pandemic began. Before that, I had a full-time job I used to be a journalist, and then I switched careers and was doing corporate communications. So when the pandemic hit, I was doing this on the side, but then 3 months into it, I left my job and I started focusing on this. So yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So what made you decide to do what you are now doing in life?
I have celiac, and I was diagnosed in 2010 while I was in college. And when I moved back to Pakistan, it was a struggle finding gluten-free food. And there was no awareness of it. You know, sometimes I'd go to restaurants and I'd tell them to give me a bun-less burger, and they'd refuse to give it. And I'd just be like, oh, just give me the patty and just remove the buns. And they'd be like,
I tried that.
yeah. And they'd be confused and they'd be like, we can't do that. And I'd be like, okay. So over the years and like, you know, following the import ban, then the lockdown, I was just like, okay, there's a need. And the more people I spoke to, I realized that a lot of other people were also, you know, because at first I didn't realize that so many people can't have gluten. But as I started talking to more and more people, they'd be like, oh yeah, we feel sick after we eat gluten or after we eat wheat. So then I was just like, okay, so let me start working on this properly. And I'd been baking for myself for years. So
okay, all right.
yes, because I have a lot of other sensitivities and allergies too. So there'd be like some ingredient I couldn't have. So I'd always bake for myself. So when the pandemic hit and then the lockdown began and you could hardly find any gluten-free food, I started doing this properly.
So it was like almost a perfect time.
Yes.
Okay. So you clearly enjoy what you're doing now. So my next question is then, what does living a meaningful life mean to you?
Doing what makes you happy, helping people where you can, and more specifically, not being a cause of distress to anyone.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a great philosophy to live by also. So, Sundar, considering the misogyny of the socio-cultural environment that we live in, what makes you feel most empowered as a woman?
The freedom to follow my own course. And I feel the privilege to have a good education and a supportive family. I feel these things empower.
Yeah, for sure. If you have supportive people around you, it makes such a difference.
It really does.
Yeah. Actually, that leads into my next question, which is, why do you think it's hard for people to witness another person doing well? And do you think this is more of a problem among women?
So I do, I feel it doesn't apply to all people, obviously, but I do feel that some people do that because the environment is very cutthroat. And like you said, especially for women, you know, because you have this insecurity because, you know, you feel like only certain women can do well, or, you know, there's only space for that many women to do or to like go ahead in life. So that's why I feel like, you know, it's the cutthroat environment that leads you to feel insecure, I feel, maybe.
Yeah, or almost like another success maybe taking away from what you could have had.
And then you start projecting your fears on other people. So I think that's what it is.
And people also do that, I find. Again, not everybody does it, but many times people do tend to perhaps put fear or doubt into another person's plans. Have you experienced that? Especially with starting your own business and whatnot.
Yes, okay, so I was scared initially because I was just like, okay, I don't know, like I have a stable job and I've been doing jobs for a while, and this was a complete career change too. But I was just like, no, I want to do what I love. And my family and friends are very supportive. So they were all just like, yes, we've had your food, you should go for it. And then I had really supportive clients, just like you, who would be like, yes, this is amazing.
Of course.
So it has really helped. Yeah. I feel like having a good set of people around you makes a huge difference.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's right. So now there's a lot of discourse about women and aging. And, you know, these days it's now considered woke to be cool with growing older and not touching your face, not getting anything done. And I don't know if you watched the Sex and the City reboot and Just Like That. And there was a lot of comment, especially on social media, about the actresses and how they've aged, or they got too much work done, or they didn't get enough done. What is your take on aging?
I feel it's natural and something everyone has to go through. I've never done anything to myself, but I feel to each to their own. If someone wants to get it done, then go for it. If you don't, I feel everyone is beautiful as they are.
What are some things that you've had to unlearn, or some beliefs that have been long held that you've had to let go of?
Trusting people too quickly. I used to do that a lot. Learning to watch my own back. That's something that I didn't do. And like I said earlier, realizing that there's there's this element of cutthroat,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah.
Everyone out for themselves, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And do you believe in giving people second chances?
Definitely.
And if so, then why?
I feel like sometimes you do stuff that you don't mean, or, you know, sometimes you go back and you learn. And I feel as you grow older, you become wiser and you realize things too. So I feel, yes, definitely. People change.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. Not all people, but some people. Yeah.
So who are the 3 people in your life that have been most integral to or influential on the person that you are today and on your personal philosophy?
It may sound cliche, but my parents.
That's not cliche at all. That's fantastic.
So that's 2. And then it's really funny because the 3rd person is Tahira Hassan. She runs a welfare organization and is a family lawyer. She's actually one of my closest friend's cousins, and that's how I met her. And so now whenever I have any issue or anything, you know, I'm just like, yeah, I call her Appa, and I'm just like, I quickly call her and I'm just like, Appa, this happened. And she'll be like, okay, I'll help you. So yeah, her.
Why do you think people find it so hard to be accepting of themselves and to just be their authentic self?
I think it's a fear of being judged by other people. Yeah.
Do you think this is something that's very much applicable to living in Karachi and the society that we live in?
In Karachi, well, or in Pakistani society is more judgmental generally, like, but it could also be because we're more close-knit, or, you know, because everyone belongs to the same culture, or we have a set perspective of how people should be. So I feel, you know, if they're not doing what you think is right, you start judging them, which is wrong, but
yes. Yeah. And everyone feels entitled to their judgment, don't they? And they're not afraid to voice it either.
At all.
Yeah. Okay, Sundar, are you ready for some rapid fire?
Sure.
These are like easy, fun questions.
Okay, cool.
All right. What book are you currently reading, or what was the last book you read?
So I'm currently reading A New Earth.
Okay, by Eckhart Tolle?
Yes. Have you read it?
I haven't, but I follow him on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could meet anyone, living or dead, who would you meet?
It would either be my Nani or Dadi, just because they both passed away before I was born.
Okay.
So I've not known what it's like to have a grandmother around. So yeah, either of them.
Okay. What world famous monument do you have zero interest in visiting?
I love traveling, so I'd love to go to all. Yeah.
Okay. Name 3 things you could not live without.
So my daily news fix, good company, and breakfast. I have to have breakfast every day.
Breakfast is the best meal of the day.
Yeah. Sometimes I have breakfast for dinner also because I just love it so much.
That's fine. Sometimes I have 2 breakfasts. What's something that you've never been able to do well?
Math. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't calculate. Save my life.
What fear are you completely over and done with?
The fear of hot things. You know, I used to be scared of fire or to touch hot things. Now I burn myself all the time. You can see burn marks on my arms.
Have you ever broken any bones of your own?
Does a hairline fracture count?
Sure.
Then yes.
Do you find it easy to accept compliments?
I think so, yeah.
Have you ever meditated?
Yes.
Do you do it regularly?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, cool. And finally, what is the first thing you notice about someone when you meet them?
In this COVID world, whether someone's wearing a mask or not.
Yes, that's an important one.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not sure if I can stand too close to you if you're not wearing a mask.
So Sundar, it was good fun chatting with you and getting to know you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And guys, do check out Gluten Free Foods Pk. Their Instagram handle is on the bottom there. I recommend everything on the menu, but my personal favorites, as Sundar knows, are the chocolate chip cookies, the bagels, and the chicken patties. Until next time, bye.